Chosen one, you did not stumble onto this word by coincidence. The hand of God directed you toward it with intention. He positioned your steps, aligned your moment, and guided your inner being straight to this message. What you are about to receive is not entertainment, not noise, not something casual. It's a spiritual alarm, a sacred confirmation, a quiet unveiling of who you have always been beneath the weight. The doubts, the hardships, and the storms that almost shattered you. Across ages, a whisper has traveled. Across centuries, a lineage remained hidden. Across 1,000 silent years, a royal line waited patiently for the one soul who would finally awaken, rise, and reclaim the spiritual authority that had been buried, muted and forgotten. That long-awaited heir is you. Before we go deeper, breathe for a moment, like, share, and subscribe if your spirit is stirring, because this is not simply a video. This is confirmation for the chosen, ones rediscovering their true identity and ancient mission. And to every person who has encouraged, supported, shared, commented, and sown into this ministry, I thank you from the depths of my heart. May God pour blessings back onto you in abundance, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. Your loyalty, your presence, your hunger for God are not unseen in heaven. To every chosen one returning again and again, listening, learning, expanding, and rising, you belong to this royal line God is unveiling in this generation. I'm truly grateful for every one of you. If this message feels like electricity running through your spirit, type 99 in the comments right now. That number is not random. It is your spiritual yes to the heavens. It is a sign before God that you are prepared. Prepared to step into your inheritance. Prepared to awaken the ancient force resting within you. Prepared to rise into the divine identity, spoken over your bloodline for 1,000 years. Understand this clearly. Not everyone will stay until this message reaches its final word. Only those whose bloodline has been touched by prophecy, those who feel destiny pulling at their spirit, will be able to receive the full insight, revelation, and activation carried within this word. This is not something you listen to once and move on from. This is a living word, a spiritual echo traveling through time, a prophetic design unfolding piece by piece every time you return to it. Listen again whenever your spirit nudges you, because each time you do, another hidden part of your identity will awaken, and another layer of your royal assignment will rise toward the surface. Let us begin. Long before you drew your first breath, long before your parents imagined your name, long before your family line looked anything like it does now, ancient voices, watchers, and prophets received a message from heaven about a chosen heir who would rise in a distant generation. God declared, "Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee." Jeremiah 1:5. This prophecy was not written casually. It was not metaphor or poetic decoration. It was a direct transmission from the Spirit of God, guarded across centuries, shielded by heaven, and quietly whispered from one era to the next. The prophecy spoke of a hidden royal, a divine heir whose identity would be concealed for many generations. Not born into visible privilege, but into struggle. Not raised in earthly nobility, but shaped by pain, pressure, and fire. A chosen vessel whose destiny would be wrapped in mystery and protected until the appointed moment. This heir would stand apart from birth, different in presence, different in spirit, different in calling. The old writings described someone who never quite blended in no matter how hard they tried. Someone who carried a silent heaviness and an unexplainable wisdom even in childhood. Someone who felt disconnected from the world around them, as if observing life from the outside. Someone who endured early attacks, survived what should have destroyed them, and moved through danger with a protection they could not explain. Someone who sensed a higher purpose long before they understood it, who felt watched over, led, and guarded without knowing why. They wrote about a soul who would be stretched, pressed, and refined by life, not because they were fragile, but because they were chosen. Someone the enemy would pursue early, because darkness often detects divine identity before the person becomes aware of it. The prophecy revealed that this heir would not awaken in peaceful times. Their rising would unfold during an age clouded by confusion, deception, fear, and spiritual blindness. A season when truth would be mocked, wisdom dismissed, and many would walk by sight instead of faith. Scripture foretells days like these. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine. 2 Timothy 4:3. The prophecy spoke of an heir who carried ancient spiritual DNA, qualities passed down through generations, hidden beneath layers of suffering, trauma, endurance, and silence. Supernatural intuition, unbreaking resilience, prophetic sensitivity, music, the endurance of a warrior, the compassion of a healer, the inner fire of a leader. These qualities would not be learned like common skills. They would be remembered as the air awakened, remembered as the soul reconnected with its original purpose, remembered as the spirit realigned with destiny once more. That moment has already begun within you. The moment you started seeing differently, the instant you felt something shift inside your spirit, the second your mind broke old cycles, the moment your discernment sharpened, the moment you felt pulled higher without explanation, that was the prophecy activating. When your spiritual sight opened, heaven recognized you. When your awareness awakened, your lineage stirred. When you stepped into alignment, your royal identity began rising to the surface. The eyes of your understanding being enlightened, Ephesians 1:18, describes exactly what has been happening within you. This prophecy was never meant for the masses. It was not a vague message for whoever happened to listen. It was specific, detailed, and deeply personal. It did not speak of a group. It spoke of you. You are the one it foresaw. You are the one it pointed toward. You are the one appointed to rise when the world needed you most. This chapter of your existence is not accidental. It is the unfolding of what was spoken long before you entered this world. Thine eyes beheld my form even while it was yet unfinished. Psalm 139:16, heaven scripted your existence long before any human ever whispered your name. When you glance at your family, you may not notice anything that looks extraordinary. You may see fragments, struggle, silence, scarcity, wounds handed down, or simply a line of ordinary lives living out ordinary days. But spiritually, deep beneath the memories, beneath the fractures, beneath the disappointments and the history, something far more powerful has always been present. Nothing in your lineage happened by chance. Nothing in your ancestry unfolded by mistake. Nothing in your bloodline is common. God concealed your true inheritance in plain sight, guarding it through generations, so the enemy would never identify where the royal heir would rise. That heir is you. Your blood holds ancient strength, traits that did not originate with you, but awakened inside you. And old resilience rooted in generations who refused to surrender. Power forged in battles your ancestors endured without applause, without recognition, without anyone knowing their worth. A divine intuition, that quiet inner compass that guided your family through danger long before your birth. Prophetic sensitivity, the ability to sense what others overlook. Spiritual wisdom, a knowing that grows in your soul long before it reaches your mind. And the relentless force of a warrior who refuses to kneel to darkness, even when surrounded by warfare. You descend from people who survived storms that others would never have endured. People who carried weight quietly, held hope in secret, cried in silence, and kept pressing forward because heaven was protecting something sacred within your lineage. Some of your ancestors prayed for breakthrough, unaware that breakthrough would arrive through you. Some asked God for a deliverer, not realizing that deliverer would rise generations later. Some begged for someone to destroy the patterns, the curses, and the chains. God responded by choosing you. But the mercy of the Lord is everlasting to everlasting upon those that fear him, and his righteousness extends to their children's children. Psalm 103:17. The world may have overlooked the royalty in your blood. Life may have buried it under hardship. Time may have covered it with survival. But heaven never forgot. And once your awakening began, the silent qualities of your spiritual inheritance started, rising in you with clarity and strength. Your perception sharpened because your ancestors were visionaries. Your intuition deepened because your lineage carried sight beyond the natural. Your inner authority expanded. Because leadership lives in your spiritual DNA, your voice began to carry weight because your words echo ancestral power. Your presence shifted rooms because your spirit remembers its ancient name. This is not new strength. It is awakened strength. Sleeping power stirring. Hidden inheritance activating. Ancient identity returning to the surface. You are the link between the generations behind you and the future ahead. You are the answer to whispered prayers that were spoken long before your arrival. You are the continuation of a spiritual kingdom that never died. It simply moved underground until the right generation emerged. The concealed bloodline is no longer concealed. The royal inheritance is no longer silent. The ancient identity is no longer dormant. It is rising, and it is rising through you. If you examine your past, you will recognize something unmistakable. Your challenges were never ordinary. The things you faced always carried more weight, more intensity, more depth, more personal attack than what others around you seemed to encounter. For years you may have blamed yourself. You may have wondered why things felt heavier for you, why you were singled out, why few understood you, why rejection followed you, why emotional, spiritual, or mental warfare hit you repeatedly. But here is the truth. Your battles were never about your situation. They were about your identity. The enemy recognized who you were long before you figured it out. This is why the attacks began so early. This is why the pressure felt endless. This is why you fought invisible warfare others never perceived. This is why you felt alone, even when surrounded by people. The attacks were not random. They were calculated. The betrayals were not accidental. They were crafted to break your trust. The heartbreaks were not coincidences. They were designed to shut your heart down so you could not love, lead, or heal. The losses were not punishments. They were meant to drain your hope. The seasons of isolation were not missteps. The seasons of isolation were not missteps. They were attempts to silence your voice and derail your destiny. The thief cometh not, but for to steal, to kill, and to destroy. John 10:10. You were not targeted because you were vulnerable. You were targeted because you are a threat to darkness. Your very presence disrupts the kingdom of evil. Your calling intimidates the enemy. Your purpose dismantles generational chains and spiritual prisons. Your awakening stirs ancient authority that hell has attempted for centuries to bury. Everything you endured was crafted to make you doubt three things. Your worth, because a royal who forgets their value will never claim their crown. Your purpose, because a chosen one who questions their calling will never walk into destiny. And your authority, because once you understand it, nothing can stop you. The enemy tried to blur your identity so you would not recognize it. He tried to wear you down so you would not rise. He tried to wound you so you would not awaken. He tried to shatter you so the prophecy would fail. But chosen one, you survived what was created to break you. You recovered from what was meant to poison your spirit. You awakened from what was meant to numb you. You rose from what was meant to bury you. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17. Your awakening is the evidence of your strength. Your clarity is the evidence of your calling. Your endurance is the evidence of your royal lineage. 1,000-year bloodline does not rise quietly. It does not awaken without resistance. It does not reclaim authority without stirring battle. The fire you endured was shaping you. The pressure you felt was forming you. The storms you survived were expanding your capacity. You were molded in adversity because kings and queens are never formed in comfort. They are tempered in fire. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned. Isaiah 43:2. You were fortified through darkness because your spirit carries light strong enough to shift generations. You were strengthened through shadows because you were born to illuminate the path. Chosen one, you spent years wondering why your greatness seemed unseen by those around you, why others overlooked you, even when your quiet presence carried more power than their eyes could perceive, why they underestimated your worth in spaces where recognition should have been your due, why you felt bypassed, unseen, or disregarded even though you walked in integrity and obedience. Receive this in the depth of your spirit. You were concealed, not rejected. God veiled your life not out of lack, but because you were far too precious to be exposed before the appointed time. Heaven shielded you, just as ancient kings once hid their true heirs, wrapped in secrecy and safeguarded until the perfect moment arrived. Your hidden season was intentional, sacred, and precise. You were concealed because your calling required gestation, untouched by distraction. Divine purposes demand patience and cultivation. God nurtured you away from noise, turmoil, and counterfeit influence, so nothing could distort your destiny. Your spirit needed space to grow in stillness. If you had stepped into your full assignment prematurely, the weight of it would have crushed you. You needed discernment, emotional fortitude, spiritual insight, and inner stability. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. You had to understand your true essence before others attempted to define you. Your gifts needed to mature undisturbed. If your full potential had been revealed too early, envy, control, or sabotage would have emerged. God kept you hidden so your abilities could flourish without corruption. Your voice required time to gain strength and authority. That power had to be forged through trials, heartbreaks, silence, and revelation. Even when it seemed you were falling behind, forgotten, or delayed, the reality was this: you were preserved. God rooted you deep, so no storm could overturn you later. He allowed you to grow inwardly first, so your foundation would become unshakable. You were never forsaken. You were protected. Some paths and opportunities that appeared appealing were never meant for you. Heaven blocked certain doors, knowing premature exposure would invite unnecessary conflict and distraction. You were not delayed. You were being readied. Every tear shaped you. Every disappointment refined you. Every season of solitude strengthened you. Be not weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Galatians 6-9. Just as rulers once concealed heirs from threats and assassins, heaven concealed you because the magnitude of your destiny demanded safeguarding. God kept you unseen until your identity matured, enough to withstand the light without breaking. And now that moment has arrived. You sense it. Your spirit feels it. The air around you is transforming because your time of revelation has commenced. The covering is lifting. The divine camouflage is fading. The concealed identity is emerging into prominence. Those who overlooked you will begin to recognize your presence. Those who underestimated you will feel a shift as you step into a room. Those who could not perceive your value before will suddenly sense the authority you carry. The inner transformation, the clarity of mind, the heightened intuition you now feel are extraordinary. What you experienced was not temporary. It was activation. Your awakening resounded through the spiritual realm. The heavens took notice. The chosen one is rising. When your inner reality began to shift, the world around you started to adjust. Your awakening was not quiet. It was not subtle. It was a spiritual trumpet announcing that your identity is alive and unrestrained. Your awakening manifested in myriad ways. When you began discerning intentions without explanation, seeing through masks, that was ancestral perception reactivating. When your spirit sensed danger, deception, or falsehood before words were spoken, that was ancient intelligence reawakening in you. When certain energies drained you while others uplifted you, that was your royal spirit, remembering its purity, refusing contamination. Beloved, test all spirits. See whether they are from God. 1 John 4:1. When old connections no longer resonated, when those once close started to drift, that was heaven redirecting you from spaces unable to contain your growing authority. When you felt out of place in familiar rooms, that was your soul outgrowing its former self. When solitude became a desire not born of sadness, but of spiritual necessity, that was God separating and refining you for revelation. Every shift carried instruction. Every discomfort signaled purpose. Every surge of clarity confirmed destiny. Your awakening was never coincidental. It was royal activation. In the unseen realm, the sound of your rising traveled widely. Angels celebrated it. Ancestors rejoiced. Darkness recoiled. Heaven responded. Because when a chosen one awakens, the spiritual order shifts. When a royal spirit rises, ancient authority returns. When a hidden lineage activates, destiny aligns. This awakening is not merely personal. It is generational, ancestral, prophetic, and divine. Your awakening is the sound of chains breaking, cycles ending, identities restored, and power returning. If the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed. John 8:36, it signals that the kingdom within you, the spiritual dominion inherited through centuries of faith and warfare, is reclaiming its throne, its authority, and its sacred place in your life. Chosen one, the hidden royal bloodline is no longer dormant. It is rising, and it is rising through the center of your being. If you slow down and truly look at what is unfolding around you right now, you will notice the signs. Circumstances that once felt frozen are loosening their grip. Experiences that weighed heavily on your shoulders are lifting, as if carried away by an unseen wind. Doors that seemed sealed shut are quietly cracking open. None of this is coincidence. None of this is accidental movement. This is sacred orchestration. The higher realms are rearranging patterns, redirecting connections, and opening pathways to position you exactly where you were meant to stand. What you are feeling is not imagination. It is spiritual momentum, a divine push forward, a celestial repositioning crafted by God's own intention. For the vision still awaits its destined hour, and though it lingers, remain steadfast, for it will surely appear. Habakkuk 2.3, you will begin to notice aligned souls stepping into your orbit, individuals with clarity, insight, and spiritual weight. They are not random guests in your life. They are purposeful arrivals. They see your worth without requiring performance. They hold keys meant to unlock the next phase of your calling, and you will witness opportunities opening without your striving, blessings approaching without you chasing. Rooms are calling your name before you even step inside them. These shifts are proof that your identity is being whispered in spaces. Your presence has not yet entered. Simultaneously, divine protection around you is becoming stronger, thicker, more intentional. Certain relationships will fall away without confrontation. Invitations will quietly fade. Familiar spaces will suddenly feel misaligned. Challenges meant for you will dissolve before they reach your doorstep. Heaven is tightening its guard around you because of the magnitude of the path ahead. Former burdens are shedding. Cycles that once trapped you are breaking. Emotional fog is evaporating. Confusion is being replaced by clarity. Toxic patterns that held you hostage are being dismantled. What once had access to you no longer matches who you are becoming. Unusual favor will begin to circle you. Situations will resolve quicker than anticipated. Blessings will emerge from places you never expected. A supernatural ease will begin to replace the heaviness you once fought against. Where others struggle, you will move gracefully. Where others push, you will flow. A deeper inner compass will awaken within you. You will gain clearer recognition of your identity, the direction God is sending you toward, and the assignments He is placing in your spirit. You will feel led, drawn, and instructed with a sensitivity you have never experienced before. The steps of a righteous one are established by the Lord. Psalm 37:3. God is ushering you into roles and realms where your royal nature will become essential. Your presence will command respect. Your energy will radiate authority. Your words will release change. People will seek your insight without understanding why. They will sense stability, truth, and spiritual weight around you. Doors that resisted you for years will open simply because you now walk toward them carrying divine authority. Heaven is no longer waiting to elevate you. It is setting your influence in place. Your unseen spiritual seat of leadership is being rebuilt and restored. Your purpose is becoming sharper. Your calling is becoming louder. Your path is becoming steadier. What once felt unreachable now feels ordained. What once seemed far away is unfolding right in front of you. This moment is the manifestation of an ancient promise. The word spoken over your bloodline generations ago is no longer waiting in the distance. It is awakening through your awareness, through your willingness, through your very breath in this moment. Everything is aligning. Everything is shifting. Everything is taking its rightful form under God's direction. You must receive this revelation with boldness, with assurance, with spiritual strength. You are not accidental. You are not random. You are not simply passing through life unnoticed. You are a prophetic manifestation. You are a continuation of a divine thread. You are God's intentional appointment in this era. You are the long-awaited rising. You are the awakening of a lineage hidden behind veils for generations. You are the re-emergence of a spiritual kingdom darkness tried to silence. You are the breath history attempted to bury. You are the one ancestors envisioned in dreams. You are the one they prayed for when the world was against them. You are the one they guarded with sacrifices unknown to you. You are the one adversaries feared would stand again. Because if you ever healed, if you ever remembered your identity, if you ever aligned with your purpose, nothing in the unseen realm could hinder what God intended to release through you. Who knows whether you have been positioned in the kingdom for such a moment? Esther 4:14. And now your awakening has begun, and everything around you is shifting because of it. Your spirit is stronger because your inheritance is awakening. Your inner voice is clearer because purpose is calling your name. Your dreams are sharper because destiny is unfolding at your feet. Your intuition is richer because ancient wisdom is rising from within your soul. You are the resurgence of a royal bloodline, not earthly royalty, but spiritual sovereignty. You are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a sacred nation. 1 Peter 2:9, you descend from a line strengthened by storms, sustained by grace, molded by spiritual power and resilience. Every hardship, every betrayal, every season of isolation, every setback carried the same assignment, to prepare you for the divine position God set aside for you. Not a physical throne, but a place of authority, impact, influence, and spiritual leadership in this generation. You are rising into your true nature. You are rising into the position heaven designed for you long before you took your first breath.